Hey, what's going on? It's Derek at Creativenauts. I'm going to go over how to use the Woolly Design Kit and kind of show you some of the things that I've done with it during making it. So, what we're going to first do here is we have to actually install um, the patterns. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to do another video outlining how to do that. This is just going to be this tutorial, okay? So, I'm starting off with like vector graphics and what I want to do is I just want to start by adding a pattern to any one of these vector shapes in the document. So uh, let's just start off with the background here. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I have my layers palette open and go to the layer that I want to go to. And I'm going to the background image. And then the first thing I want to do is go to pattern overlay. So once you have the patterns installed, and let me get rid of these. These are default from Photoshop. You just want to select one of them. And as you can see, it's already there. And there's two blending options that I like to use to get the best effect. The first one is hard light, and the second one is luminosity. So for this background, I'm probably going to go with the hard light. And here's one thing to keep in mind, everybody. The scale. In order to use the patterns overlay within a layer style in Photoshop, you must always keep the scale at 100, 50%, 25%, 10%, 5%, or 2% or 1%. So if you happen to go, hey, I want to do 75%, excuse me, you're going to notice that graphic does not look great. I mean, it looks blurry. It's just not going to work out in your best interest. So if you go down to 50, you'll notice we're right at 100. And you can see that right here, everything looks crisp. And that's what you need to remember. It's only going to look great with dividing in half by 100. So again, 100, 50, 25, 10, 5, 2, or 1 if you end up going that small, which I don't think anybody will. So just so we got that out of the way, let's toy around with this a little bit. So one thing that you want to do too is you want to play around with opacity, because that's going to give you the ability to make it soft. If you want it to be just super in your face, you're going to keep the opacity more towards 100%. But you know, depending on your color palette, you know, if you're doing something like I'm doing right here, I want it to be a little soft, and I'm going to probably drop it down to luminosity. And let's just kind of go through some of these patterns that are in here, because there's so many of them that are just very cool. I mean, that looks great. I like this one a lot. I use this one a lot for backgrounds. And I have one that's similar to that, which is vertical, which is right here. And I'm going to use that. And to me, that looks a little too big, so I'm going to dump it down to 25. And let's just switch back. Let's see what it looks like on hard light. That looks a little too blown out, so we want to go down to luminosity. You can also use like multiply and stuff like that too. I mean, the blending mode it's definitely up to you. It's up to your choice. But for me, in the way I like to work, I generally use two, the hard light and luminosity, for this style effect. So let's just dump that down. That looks good, about 39, 25%. And, you know, I would just work my way up the document here. You know, let's just add something to the pants real quick. See what it ends up looking like. That looks pretty good. Let's do a hard light. Yep. See, in this instance, hard light, when you're working with this color, it doesn't blow it out. So since it's a darker color, the hard light's going to be a little bit more pronounced. So, yeah, it looks about good. So here's a trick for you. Once you get one pattern down that you like, and you have other colors that are similar within your piece that you're working in, right-click on the layer that you just applied the style to, and go to Copy Layer Style. And from here, I can hold Control if you're on Windows like me. Or if you're a hipster, you'll have to hold the Command button, I believe. And hit, I hold Control, and then I click on each individual vector within the art document. So the first time I hold Control, I hit click. Now the second time I hold Control and Shift, and then hit click. And as you can see, I'll start having more layers linked or grouped together, however you want to call it. Sorry if I have the terminology long. I'm kind of old schooler. So once we have multiples selected, you can simply right click and then go to paste layer style, and you'll see right there that we just pasted the layer style right there on all those individual layers. That will save you a lot of time. Or you can just go through it and do it one at a time, and there's no problem with that either. All right, and again, I just want to toy around with it a little bit. For the beard, we want it to be a little bit soft. Maybe this isn't the right pattern for it. So, I would just see, I like that pattern right there. I think that pattern looks great. I'll probably dump it down a little bit, 25%, maybe 100. That's too big. So we'll just kind of, go through these a little bit. And just select one that you like. Oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So let's go with that one. And again, once you get that pattern down, right click, go right click, and then you're going to go to copy layer style. Now we have that style copied. We can reuse it. And let's just go to the belt. Let's go to the armbands. Go to the hat. We'll go to the top. I guess you want to call the bill of the hat. Right click, since I have them all selected, and you'll see we have them selected. And my layers palette's very messy, sorry, but I'm sure a lot of you work in the same manner. And just paste layer style, and wham bam, there you go. It's right there. Probably for the mustache, probably want to make that a tad smaller if you wanted to, or you can just maybe lighten it up. Maybe you find a different one for the mustache. Maybe you have to go in and, duplicate the layer just to kind of give it a false drop shadow or something like that with a second layer. Yeah, there you go. I know this is totally unrelated to the product that you just purchased or you're thinking about purchasing, but you can kind of see how that works a little bit. And then, just move on to the boots if you wanted to. If that was the next thing that you were going to work on. And again, there's just a ton of different elements that you can choose from. And a lot of cool ones. And after I do this, I'll go through a few of the preview images. So you can kind of see how I did it in those, for those that are wondering. Alright, I got those selected. Paste in. That's a little too dark right here now, so I'll just blow that out. And it could be red like I had it originally, Either or, it doesn't matter. And then you would just finish up the document from there. I don't want to go too much into it. I think you get the gist of the idea of how this works. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the products here. So you'll see in the previews we did something cool, like a little patch, creatures. And again, same thing. Let me delete some of these layers so it's not as messy. There we go. All right. So again, same method. Here I added some bevel and stuff like that, but that's just normal stuff that a lot of people know how to do. Oh, I had an error. Anyways. So let's see what we have here. All right, so we got the face. And again, all I did was I chose a pattern. Again, I'm using hard light. And you just go through it, find a pattern, Hey, that one's kind of cool. There's really just a ton of patterns that you can choose from. And you can toy around with the blending options. It actually comes with the raw patterns that I made. So if you don't like using the patterns overlay option, you can simply just load the patterns in yourself and then tweak them as you need be. I did the patterns because I just thought it was a little bit easier for everybody. So again, this is kind of like a before and after, so you can get an idea of what it looked like before, what it looked like after. And again, we're doing the same thing. We're probably using the same blending options, luminosity. You can, again, increase it, decrease the how harsh it is. It's just a ton of neat things that you can do with this product. Again, I use this little pirate scenery, and it just looks so cool. I mean, I'm very proud of this product. I think a lot of you will enjoy it. I know a lot of you people are way more creative than I am, and I know that you can probably come up with a lot more better ideas than what I did in the short amount of time that I just spent doing a bunch of previews just to get an idea if the product was going to look good, if it would be something that I think people would want, which I believe that you will. And this was the main image that everybody's seen. And I got the reason I made this project was because I was inspired by a game that my children play called Mario or Yoshi's Woolly World, and I was just drawn into the art of the game, and I was like, man, this is something that I could see people using as a style, especially anything that was be for like kids or like a card that you were designing for somebody. I mean, the possibilities were just endless in my opinion. So I went ahead with it, and I just I spent a long time making this product, guys, just so you know. And here we are today. And I think that there's so many things that you can do with this, and I can't wait to see what people start doing when they actually start using the products and email me and say, hey, thanks, and check out what I did. I think it's going to be absolutely cool. So, this works on text, it works on vector graphics, it works on static graphics. I used it in a ton of real world scenarios. Like, I even used it in a print ad recently. I kind of used it for a website that I was designing for a friend of mine, as like a elements throughout the site for buttons and stuff like that. I just very proud of it. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. You probably bought the product because I'm not really selling it anywhere other than a couple of places right now. So I appreciate it that you purchased it. If you just happen to stumble upon the video and you want to know where to purchase this, I'll put a link in the description below. So again, thank you so much. This is Derek from Creativenauts signing out. Until next time, see ya.